My name is Amia, and I'm a junior at Ridge High School in Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Education is one of the most important forces in the world. It matters just as much in every corner of it. Whether you're an educator from Basking Ridge, where I'm from, or from a rural region in the middle of India, the goal is the same: to prepare students to succeed after graduation. So, when I was in kindergarten, I walked into my cousin's house wearing my favorite shirt. My cousins, one was in third grade and the other in seventh at the time, took one look at me and then they just burst out laughing, shaking their heads. And I couldn't figure out what could possibly be so funny. I was so proud of this shirt. I mean, who wouldn't be proud of a shirt that in giant letters across a bunch of crayons said, "I love school"? Apparently, literally everyone older than the age of 5. You love school? Are you okay? Do you also love getting shots at the doctor? And then my older cousin said something that really stuck with me. Enjoy it while it lasts, because once you're our age, you'll hate it too. Except when I actually got to third grade, I still loved school. My cousins looked at me like I was some kind of alien. But it wasn't me that was different. It was my school. I went to a Montessori school. Montessori was kind of magical for me. In third grade, we spent the entire year studying Native American cultures. But it wasn't just in history class. In music, we spent the year working on a play that we performed. In English, we read stories, we researched, and we wrote. In science, we studied food and resources. I spent months creating an entire portfolio on Sacagawea, my favorite Native American historical figure. It consisted of articles, drawings, citations, everything. And at 8 years old, I was completely obsessed with Sacagawea. I mean, who else can say that? But here's the remarkable part. I still remember that year in crystal detail. I can still sing the Lewis and Clark song. But if you asked me what I learned in seventh grade, completely blank. That's the power of Montessori. Learning felt like an adventure. Reading was fun because I chose my books. Writing was fun because it wasn't five paragraph formulas. Math wasn't worksheets, it was puzzles. Science wasn't memorizing facts, it was learning through experiences. Teaching and explaining concepts to each other was part of the process. And this reinforced understanding and it helped me build confidence in myself. Yeah, not every teacher is Montessori trained, but the same principles can be applied anywhere. Student choice, curiosity, collaboration, and peer teaching doesn't require some kind of a special classroom. They just require believing that kids are capable of driving their own learning. Unfortunately for me, that joy didn't last forever. As I got older, school changed. And suddenly it wasn't about learning anymore, it was about testing. Reading turned into chapter quizzes. Writing became rubrics, formulas, and word counts. It was all five paragraph formulas. Math became worksheet after worksheet. But then, one day came my eighth grade language arts class. In this one period a day, everything felt different again. The class was some sort of a year-long passion project. So we had assignments along the way that all related to that chosen topic, which could change many times throughout the year. And we still covered all of the important skills. We read books, we researched, we gave presentations, we got to write, but we learned also how to use AI as a tool to spark our thinking, to push us to think deeper and ask better questions. And the year ended with the final assignment of building a TED Talk, the very thing that I now love to do on my own whenever I present at conferences, and work on public speaking skills. This class just lit something up in me. It reminded me of what school used to feel like. It was fun, it was creative, and it was actually motivating because we were learning about what I wanted to learn about. And in that moment, I realized that school doesn't have to be boring. It can still spark joy. We've just chosen to make it different. And so that moment was my turning point. Instead of just accepting school the way it was, I started imagining how it could change. So, what's the point of school? If you ask me, it's not about memorizing a bunch of facts that I'll probably forget in a year. And it's not even about grades. The point is to prepare us for the real world, to grow curious, motivated, capable people that are excited to learn because we want to learn more about these topics. But here's the problem. So many classrooms accidentally crush curiosity instead of actually sparking it. But the solution isn't more drills, more homework, or stricter rules. It's creating the kinds of experiences that actually light kids up, experiences that I would still remember 10 years later, just like my Sacagawea project. That's why I loved school so much as a kid. That's why I loved math. That's why I believe that it's possible still to make school a place that kids can actually love again. Ever since that eighth grade spark, I've focused on bringing creativity and innovation into classrooms because that's what has excited me the most. And after getting a glimpse of how powerful learning could be, I could not settle for the old traditional way of school. I knew I had to start small at my own school, but also think big at the same time. I began by hosting professional development sessions for teachers, and then I was invited to an AI task force district board of education meeting to actually help rewrite our district's AI policy, where I got to help bring technology into classrooms responsibly. But as I spent more and more time working locally at my own school, I realized that the potential for something a lot bigger was still there. If change could just start in one classroom, like what happened to me in my eighth grade class, why can't it happen in schools everywhere? That's when I co founded Students for Innovation. It started as just like a platform for students like me, students who saw how AI and technology could improve learning and wanted to advocate for it to teachers across the country. But it grew really fast. Now, Students for Innovation is a global platform where students push for what they want in the classroom, from gamified learning to financial literacy to better support for dyslexia. We speak at conferences like this one, reminding teachers that students and the voice that students have is what matters, and that how we want to learn is what should shape the classroom. Because here's the truth. If one teacher, one class could completely reshape my life, imagine what's possible if every teacher listens to their students. So, what can you do starting tomorrow? You can give students real choice in how they show what they've learned. You can help them use AI in a way that actually makes them think deeper, like using it to brainstorm ideas, question assumptions, or even compare different perspectives instead of just giving them answers. You can ask them what makes learning fun for them, but not just ask and take that advice, but act on it. Listen and actually make a change in your curriculum. You can turn one worksheet into a project, one unit into some sort of an adventure for each student. Incorporating project and inquiry-based learning is just the first step. It doesn't take destroying an entire curriculum to do this. It just starts with one small shift.